What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Empower Show. I am your host, Markeith Braden, and my co-host.
Donzaleigh Powell.
And we're so excited that you're with us because it's been a while. It has been a while since we've had a show. We took a little time off just to kind of regroup and to create the second season of the Empower Show. And we are coming back to you rested. We're coming back to you with more content that is going to be valuable and that's going to help you along your journey. So, Donzaleigh, how's everything been going since our break?
Everything has been good, and it actually has been just a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Was pretty busy in the spring, but
Mm,
now it's kind of mulled out just a little bit. So I've really been able to kind of, like you said, take a step back. Sometimes you just gotta rest and do all the things that you want to do but can't
yeah.
always.
Yeah. I know you were doing some traveling towards the end of the year, beginning of the year. How were your trips?
Oh my goodness. I'm really starting to just love traveling more and more and more. I love it here in the Nashville area, don't get me wrong, but just seeing how other people live, what they eat, what they
Mm,
do, and how they kind of work together, I enjoy it thoroughly.
yeah, that's good. This year has been interesting for me because normally I'm doing a lot of traveling and sightseeing and going to see friends, but this year I've literally not been anywhere. I have been here. I drove to Atlanta for my birthday. That's the only trip that I've taken in 2023, which is so unusual. But I guess I did need to take some time and just
Mhm.
regroup and refocus and all that great stuff.
Yeah.
So, well, today we want to talk to you about a very important topic. And that topic is boundaries. The specific title for today is how do you set proper boundaries? Let me hold on. I lost my thing. We won't. I'll just come back in. Hold on. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, I came off of it. Three, two, one. Well, we have a specific topic today that we really want to talk about. And it is a topic that I think many of us can find value in. And that is mastering the art of boundaries, the key to personal growth and fulfillment. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because we all have, the same 24 hours in a day. We all have things that we want to accomplish in the year. And at the point that you may see this episode, we are halfway through the year. And the question is have you accomplished all the things that you have set out to do? Or have you really fulfilled some of those events that you said you wanted to fulfill? And if your answer is no to that, the question that I want to pose to you is have you set the right boundaries to protect your time? And so, Donzaleigh, what are your thoughts about boundaries and setting boundaries in order to, protect your time, protect your uh, life, protect your relationships? What are your thoughts about boundaries?
I definitely feel like they're absolutely necessary if
Mhm.
you have any kind of goals, accomplishments, dreams, things that you really want to get done. You
Mhm.
have to start setting them. You cannot say yes to everything and everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
you just have to get comfortable with that. You know, it's okay.
Getting comfortable with
Mhm.
boundaries. And a lot of times, many of us can have a hard time
Mhm.
setting those boundaries because we do have relationships with individuals that we care about. We do have things that we have a desire to do, organizations that we're a part of that we want to participate with. However, if you're always giving out of your time, giving out of your finances, giving out of your energy, then the question is what do you have left for yourself?
Yeah.
What do you have left to replenish yourself if you're always giving out? And so that's why we want to talk about boundaries today, because we want to help you set healthy boundaries so that you can accomplish that in which you said that you want to accomplish at the beginning of the year. And so when you hear the word boundary, Donzaleigh, what first comes to mind to you?
Um, a border. I need protection. I some distance or some restraint.
Mm,
Just and that can vary. So the boundary given the person or the project or the whatever it is can
mhm.
vary, but it's just it kind of the first thing that pops in my head is hold on. Let
Hold
me
on.
let me really evaluate this and make a decision is really what it kind of equates to me.
Yeah. The first thing that pops in my head is protection.
Mhm.
Protecting my time,
Mhm.
protecting my peace,
Mhm.
protecting relationship,
Yep.
protecting whatever it is that I want to ensure that I continue to carry out. And I think that sometimes we can look at the word boundary and have and it have a negative connotation to it, but it really is a positive
Mhm.
um, word, I think, because it helps to protect whatever you deem to be important to you.
Yes.
But there are some boundaries that sometimes can keep you handcuffed, that can keep you from progressing, that can keep you from realizing your full potential. And so there is a difference between healthy boundaries and not so healthy boundaries. And so let's tend to talk about the healthy boundaries today versus the negative, because I want to stay as positive as possible. And so one of the things that I was reading and it shared that, having boundaries really can help enhance your self-esteem. That when we put boundaries in place, it really helps us self-care,
It is.
right? It really helps to build us up because we have these boundaries in place so that we are protecting, our emotions, or like I said, protecting your peace. How healthy boundaries can contribute to self-esteem are in many ways. And so when you think about boundaries helping to, enhance your self-esteem, in what ways do you feel like it has helped to enhance yours, Donzaleigh?
I think it helps you when you start to have healthy boundaries. I think it helps you to learn your value,
Mm,
learn the value of, again, same thing, your goals. Like if those are truly important to you, like that's one of the things that I love to talk about whenever I do the kind of vision tour series, helping people flush through goals and and we talk about some of the reasons why they are the way that they are. And at the end of the day, you have to be able to kind of, again, take that step back and say, if this is truly what I want, these are the main things at the end of the day, what's important to me, what do I have to eliminate in order to do it? You are one person. You can't be everything. You do have to you
mm,
have to let some things go. And so
right.
I think it helps bring out your value and what
Yeah.
you're bringing to the table, what you're trying to accomplish, and just that alone, you should start to feel more empowered to be able to do what you're here to do.
I like the word that you just used, that it helps you feel empowered.
Mhm.
Because when I think about how boundaries has enhanced my self-esteem, that it really has helped to protect my ability to be authentically me,
Mhm.
right? And so setting boundaries in place helped me, and some people may have taken it the wrong way, but to some degree it's helped me not surround myself around the negative folks,
Mhm.
that didn't necessarily help me in my self-esteem, that always maybe has something to say negative around what my vision was, what I was trying to do, who I was trying to become. And so I think that in some way, shape, or form, that it has enhanced my self-esteem by helping me to decide these are the type of people that I need to spend time with. These are the type of people that I might need to limit my time with so that I can be comfortable and confident in who I am and move forward in those things that I feel like God has called me to do, which leads us to the next thing that boundaries help, and that is improved relationships. That setting the right boundaries can help you like improve your relationships with individuals, because if you really sit and think about it, I'm absolutely sure that many of us have had relationships that we look back today and say, I can't believe that I was in that relationship, or I was friends with that person, because that was nothing positive about that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it helps you improve your relationships. How has healthy boundaries helped to contribute to better relationships for you?
Well, you sort of alluded to this a moment ago. So when you were talking about it can kind of change,
Mm-hmm.
basically it kind of changes your circle, right? So I have a lot of entrepreneur friends. I have a lot of female entrepreneurs also, and
Mm-hmm.
I know that if we have a conversation, they're not even going to approach me with anything that would kind of violate what I would say is kind of like a typical boundary, just as far as communication, time requests, if they want some work done, like they're not even coming with the, hey girl, what's my they're not coming to me like that. Versus maybe somebody that I've known for years and years and years, it might be a little bit different situation. So I think just the communication that we have, and again, they know that I value my time. They also value my time, and the same thing, it's reciprocal. Same thing with them. If they have something I'm trying to support, or hey, I need this service, can you help? We approach it from a different perspective of not
Right.
just you're my friend, but
Mm-hmm.
you actually provide a service or this or that, and I value that. So I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to honor you by trying my best to do, make it equitable. Let me put it like
Right.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
I like what you said, that they value that, but then also the term friend.
Hmm. Hmm.
That I feel like that having healthy boundaries helps you to identify friends
Yeah. Yeah.
versus acquaintances. I think I'll never forget, Bishop Jakes said that we all have like these three phases of people in our lives. We have comrades, we have confidants, and we
Mm.
have companions. Comrades, confidants, and companions. Comrades are individuals who, whatever they are against, you're possibly against, and y'all get along. So if it's a cause that you
Mhm.
all are going after, you feel like it's not a just cause, you get along fine and you go for it. But as soon as they're against something and you're not, then you kind of fall out a little bit. Confidence, and I like this scenario, he says that they're individuals who, whatever they're for, and you are also for, y'all get along. You for this positive movement, you're for this thing that is needing to be done in the community. But as soon as they're for something and you're not for it, then it seems to kind of wane a little bit.
Mhm.
But the companion, whether you for it or against it, they're with you along the way. They're for you. That they understand, okay, we may not agree on everything, but therefore you think that a healthy boundary is understanding the difference between the three,
Mhm.
so that you don't always take certain things personally.
Right. Yeah.
So setting healthy boundaries really helps to enhance your relationships. The next thing that it says that healthy boundaries help to enhance is your emotional well-being. And when I hear that term emotional well-being, the phrase that jumps out that we hear about a lot is emotional intelligence. Your ability to be able to really master your emotions in certain situations. That your emotions don't master you, but you have the ability to master your emotions, no matter what may be going on around you, and helping you to protect yourself, as I had kind of alluded to earlier, around protecting my peace. So when you think about a boundary that helps to support your emotional well-being, what first comes to mind?
Let's see, a boundary help. Ah, I think me being what comes to mind is being a good steward
Mm.
of, again, why I'm here. So it's almost like you talked about protection, so to speak, and I think the ability to take that, I'm not going to say remove the emotional piece because we're
Hmm.
humans.
Right.
There is a level of that is natural and that you should have. You're
Hmm.
human. Like, people should not become robots. However, I think really processing those things
Hmm.
is very helpful for me.
Right.
And there, like, we know I like a lot of things, but there's still a lot of things that I don't do that I like,
Hmm.
again, because I have to protect, okay, what's really the main, what am I really trying to get to? So for
Hmm.
me, I'd say just protecting that space, that time, that and really just taking time sometimes to think about things and not jump to the emotion part of it,
Right.
you know.
And you. That's
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yep.
You know your triggers, your pressure points, all these things about yourself. And so you want to be in a empowered position to be able to make, those important decisions around your emotions. You want to put things in place that will help you to, protect your space. Because we all
And
need space.
actually, I think that is a great point, and it really hits home because you saying that just kind of brings to light. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, sometimes on certain days when certain things happen, again, that might I want to have that emotional rush or the,
Hmm.
oh my goodness, whatever the moment is, I might not take that call or I might not
Mm,
respond that day
that
because,
day.
again, I know me. Like, no, let me give myself a minute before I even take this on. So yes, I think you're right about learning yourself and learning how to deal and navigate in that water.
It's interesting that you say that, which is well, it helps me to see certain experiences that I have because I'm really quick. I'm real quick to address something immediately,
Mm.
but everybody's not like that, and to some degree, I have a hard time understanding that because I just don't like things to linger,
Hmm.
and so part of my boundary to protect my emotional um, well-being is let's address it right then and there. Let's talk about it. Let's handle it. Let's come up with that resolution and let's move on. Whereas somebody else is protecting their well-being, let me sit for a moment.
Yep.
Yes, it was an intense moment. It was an intense debate, maybe even an argument. I don't want to address it right now. Let me, because I might say something that I don't intend to say. I may say something that might hurt your feelings. So let me chill out. And so that helps me to really better understand moving forward in the future, especially as it pertains to relationships. That one, everybody's not like you, but two, just because you have the ability to address it, speak to it right away, you have to give everybody else their space to process it the way that they need to process it.
I was just gonna say that. So I am a processor. So I am not the person. Don't take me on Family Feud. It's not my lane. I know that that's not my lane, and I'm okay. But if you have something where you're sitting down, hey, we're gonna have a whole meeting. Let's map out a strategy. I'm your girl. But
Mhm.
that immediate, no, I like to lay out my thoughts. I like that's how you're gonna get the best version of me, and use of the brain, use of this
Mhm.
brain. So, and where others, again, they're perfect for Family Feud because they can spurt it out, so it's just two different ways of thinking, and I think both have value. It's just finding out that
Right.
balance between the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with Donzaleigh's Photography, we specialize in helping you bring out you. One thing that I've noticed, people can be scared, intimidated about doing a shoot, especially if it's the first time. I've modeled before, done acting, the whole nine. So if you need help with that, I'm gonna coach you through the whole thing. I'm gonna tell you how to pose, make you look real cute, and then by the time you get your images, you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, that was me, I did that. So I love doing that for people. I love bringing out you. So just make sure that you check us out. We'd be happy to work with you.
The last benefit was personal growth and fulfillment. Having healthy boundaries can benefit you in your personal growth and life fulfillment. When you hear that, what do you think about?
Well, the first thing that pops in my head when I hear personal boundaries makes me think of family.
Hmm.
So that's kind of outside of the workplace, entrepreneur, that type of realm, but those things can impact you. And I can remember years ago when I was a supervisor, a manager, a director, and you're dealing with people.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have stuff going on at home, family issues, all of that. And of course, they always say, oh, leave it at that, leave it at home. But the reality is, it does come with them in one way or another. And you might not understand it at all and have no idea what's really going on. But that's what it makes me think about it. Sometimes, even with family, very close friends, you need to still have these boundaries. And again, it's healthy. It's not saying just be so rigid. I'm cutting them
Right.
out. It might not be that, but it is starting to communicate. Hey, I've noticed this. This is how I feel. Could you, tell me a little
Mm-hmm.
bit about what you think about it? It might just be having those conversations that may be totally uncomfortable or something that your family is totally unused to. And so we all have to kind of work through that, at our
Right.
own pace.
Yeah. When I think about setting healthy boundaries for the benefit of personal growth and fulfillment, you know,
Mhm.
who doesn't want to experience fulfillment? Who doesn't want to be a person who enjoys life and enjoys it to the fullest? I don't know a person who doesn't want to have a full life. And so boundaries helping you with your personal growth and fulfillment are is so important because and that could even shift into, your finances. So for example, as an entrepreneur, you know, I need to set boundaries in place around my finances to the degree that I know that there are conferences, I know that there are events that I desire to go to. I know that there is coaching that I desire to have that has to be paid for. So if I don't set a boundary in my finances around, okay, this is my spending zone, this is what I save, then um, I could potentially negatively be impacting my personal growth as an entrepreneur, my experiences as an entrepreneur because I didn't set any proper financial boundaries in place. And so, there is this overall holistic perspective and point of view around how boundaries can benefit you. And I think that when I hear the whole idea of boundaries being a benefit for the purposes of fulfillment and for the purposes of really, having life purpose, I kind of understand how that can be a great benefit to that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I see that.
So shifting just a little bit, to maintaining, healthy boundaries. I think that we understand the benefits, but how do we maintain them? How do we keep them going so that we can continuously always be benefiting from them? And one of the things that it talked about was that, maintaining maintaining healthy boundaries or building those, you have to have self-reflection.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be aware of, okay, I had this experience, wasn't the necessarily best experience for me. Let me, let me do a pivot. Let me shift in a way that will help me to experience this in a better way. And I love
So maybe,
self-reflection. I don't know if you love self-reflection, but self-reflection for me helps me to kind of turn the mirror on myself
mhm.
and not always think it's somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I would say it also noticing patterns.
Mm,
And same thing, that could be within ourselves or within others. If you start to notice, hey, I'm really not liking how every time they come to me, they're asking for, I'm just using an example, they're asking for
right,
something. It's never just a chicken or, so just noticing patterns and then maybe, like you said, trying a different way. Whereas normally you might always be like, okay, yeah, I got you. Well, maybe you don't need to a couple
right.
times and just see how that goes.
Yeah,
see,
that's
see
good.
does do they shift from what'd you say, comrade? Like just notice those shifts, or are they still, on your team regardless?
Still on your team. Another way to build them is communication.
Oh,
Communication, communication, communication. We talk, I talk a lot about communication. I had a recent experience that really helped me to better understand that if I say I love communication and communication is a great value to me, it could totally mean something different to another person who says the exact same thing, that communication is important to them and
mm.
is valuable to them. However, what type of communication is important?
Yeah.
That in and of itself, I think that communicating effectively, interesting enough, it depends on the person and what they mean by communicating effectively. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. All communication is not the same. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Because people, you got to remember, of course, everyone comes from these different backgrounds,
Mm-hmm.
and some are used to constant verbal communication. Some people are better with, expressing, especially things like that in writing. Like you've got all these different personalities and traits and things that kind of play a part in that to me. So I can see how you could have a huge contrast in viewpoint.
Yeah. Communicating boundaries effectively. I think it's just important that you understand what that means to the individual that you're communicating to or the group that you're communicating to. What does effective mean? Because, like I shared earlier, effective communication to me means let's sit down, let's talk about it, let's discuss it, let's come up with our solution. Whereas to somebody else, they may not want to sit down right then or there. Whereas to some millennials, they don't want to sit down at all. They want you to send them a text message
Yeah.
and work it out through text messaging. So that one right there, I
And
don't know.
I can see where one of the ways that we could also look at this is, you remember how, let's say we're talking to a group and we're explaining something, and then a lot of times as the facilitator or the person that is working to try to communicate an important message, after you feel like you've done your job in communicating, is to stop for a minute and ask somebody, so what did you hear me just say, and have them try to tell them in their own words, and just making sure that you all are on the same page, because a lot of times you might feel like I've conveyed this so clearly, there's no way that they don't understand, and then on the opposite spectrum from that, they've heard something totally different, still might be something good but totally different, and then that way you can have that conversation. That way when they start to say, hey, I was thinking you just said this and this, and you're like, well, actually it wasn't quite that, but and you have that discussion
Mm-hmm.
to flush it out and make sure you're both on the same page.
Yeah. One more to building and maintaining, and that is, and I love this one, setting limits and saying no.
Mm-hmm.
That there is no better way to set boundaries in your life than understanding what your limits are and leveraging, empowering yourself to say no.
Yeah.
I always say that no is the most powerful word in the dictionary because basically saying no frees you up to say yes to the things that you want to say yes to.
Yep. So I currently um sit on a board, and it's a kind of hands-on deck type board situation, and I've done it for a few years. But this time, probably early, I'd say around maybe February, March of this year, just had a lot. Like I said, the spring was pretty busy, just had a lot on the plate. And I had to make a decision, just like how
Mm.
I do when I'm, talking with somebody else about their goals and stuff. And I was just like, time wise, in order for me to do what I'm truly trying to do, you do have to start saying no sometimes. You have
Yeah.
to. And so this next fiscal year, I've already let them know, hey, I won't be able to serve in that position. Now I still might be able to help, so if you have something and it's in my wheelhouse, hey, just let me know. But to be in a position to where I'm responsible for it and all that, it's like, you know what, gotta say no on this one,
Yeah. So good. So good. So good. Well, there are 5 questions I want us to answer. We'll go uh, between the two of us. We won't answer the same question. But these last 5 questions I think will be helpful for people to hear, how we address them. And so I'll let you take question number 1 and I'll do 2, so on and so forth. So question number 1 is, what if someone reacts negatively to your boundaries? What would you do?
Um, that it can vary. I would try to see why. I mean, I do want to understand and see if there's any way that it can be worked around. Um, at the same time, depending on what it is, I might feel like it's totally within reason for me to expect whatever boundary that I'm setting.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're gonna have some fallout from that, and I'm
Mhm.
okay with that for the most
Yeah.
part. I mean, kind of is what it is.
It is what it is. Question number 2 says, how do I establish boundaries without feeling selfish? I'm going to
Mm,
go Iyanla Van Zant on this one because I remember her talking about this. And at the end of the day, really, boundaries help you to be self full. The more full I am, the more impactful I can be in somebody else's life. But if I am always giving out, if I'm always saying yes, if I'm always, doing something for other people and not setting the boundary for me to be self full, it's like what they say on the airplane, right? In case of an emergency, put your mask on first before you try to help somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, the fact of the matter is many of us have been helping everybody else without putting on our mask. And that's why we feel depleted. That's why we feel unfulfilled. That's why we feel tired and exhausted. And so, to not feel selfish, start looking at it as setting boundaries for me helps me to be self full. So I can give out of my excess versus giving out of my cup.
I like it.
Question number 3: can boundaries change over time?
I say absolutely. I think they should change over time as we grow and we develop, we mature, we learn. I think that boundaries are going to change. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to discover, hey, now I'm headed in a slightly different direction, and this is now the space that I need. I think that's is perfectly healthy for those things to happen. We should not be the same when people are.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see sometimes people, I'm the same. I've been the same since 1990. Have you? Is that a plus? To me, that's not a plus. We should be growing. So
Yeah, that's
I think they
good.
should change.
And we both can answer this last question. Is it ever too late to start setting boundaries?
I say no.
No, no, there's never too late. And actually, that was only question number 4. We still got one more. I'm
Okay.
moving too fast. But yeah, no. You can set boundaries whenever you see fit. Whenever you see fit. And don't wait to the point where you realize that you have completely depleted yourself. We want you to be proactive in setting the boundaries so that you don't get to the point of depleting yourself. So it's never too late. And then the last question is, how do I handle boundary violations from loved ones? Now, that's a good one. I'll let you go
Yeah,
first.
I think that can be tough. I mean, it can. I'm not even gonna act like it's not at times, especially when loved ones you're very close to them. Sometimes it can be difficult. However, same thing. Sometimes you have to start implementing some of that new communication that may not be as familiar, but you have to say, you know what, I'm going to step up as the adult, try my best to communicate these things clearly. Here's my expectations, or what, just how you're feeling, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I think for me, it is you can't be afraid to address it with loved ones. You can't be afraid to let your loved ones know, hey, this is a boundary that I've set. I need you to respect that boundary. And if you can't respect it, this is what I'm going to have to do. That I need to protect me. I need to protect my peace. I need to protect my mind. And I just need you to do this for me. If you say you love me, you won't have a negative perspective on why I'm setting the boundary. And then it's not in your hands anymore, right? It's on them to decide to do something different than what they have always done. So, yeah, I think that that's good. So, this topic on boundaries, we hope you were able to, grab some value out of Donzaleigh and I's conversation around mastering the art of boundaries, the key to personal growth and fulfillment. But we always like to end every episode with an encouraging word or share something with you that we feel like will help you to, grow and be in your best self. And so I'll start us off and just share with you, around this topic that your boundaries help you to be self full. And you want to be as full as possible so that you can experience life as full as possible. I love this quote. I think I learned from Dr. Miles Monroe as well. And he says that you want to make sure that you live full but die empty.
Mm,
Live full but die empty.
yeah, I
We
like
don't
that.
want you to die alive, right? While you're living, you shouldn't be dead. While you're living, you should be living fully.
Yeah.
But if you are always giving of yourself and you don't have any boundaries, it's almost like you're the walking dead because you don't have anything to give yourself because you've given it all out to you. So set the boundaries so that you can live full.
I like that. Now I like quotes too. So I have one. This one's Renee Brown. She's a researcher, author,
Mm.
motivational speaker. And hers was daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves
Mm.
even when we risk disappointing others.
Mm.
So basically what we've talked about the whole time. You
Yeah.
sometimes you gotta protect yourself in order,
Yeah.
even if it disappoints people. It's all
Even
right.
if it disappoints people. Well, Donzaleigh, I'm glad that we did this episode. We're back, everybody. We are back. And hey, share out this episode, hit like and subscribe. Join our newsletter as well by clicking the link in the video description. Join the family of Empower because we want to make sure that you are being your best and best self each and every week, and we thank you for being a part of our family. And so continue to do the best that you can each and every day, and remember to set those boundaries so that you can realize your best self, live full, and die empty. So until next time, take care.